Do you know where all our languages come from today? If you delve deep into how modern languages came to be, you'll find ancient languages and scripts everywhere. And these ever-changing languages are known to be ideal for sacred purposes. And perhaps more importantly, their age gives off an air of sanctity because it's believed that all spoken today and in the past must trace their roots back to one ancient language. Known as either Celestial Speech, Angelic Speech, or perhaps more popularly Enochian, it's believed that the words of this language were uttered by God himself as he breathed life into the world. That being said, although it may be so ancient, with the main references to the language being the Bible and the apocryphal Book of Enoch, it was only through the works and visions of two Englishmen living in the 16th century that we got to know anything about this language today. Today we shall take a look at this most ancient language, how man learned it, but over time lost it, those that brought it back to us, and if this truly might be the authentic language of God or the optus magnum of one hell of a fraud. Let's take a look at Enochian, the secret language of angels. We can begin with the fact that there is a belief that this language is so ancient God spoke the entire universe into existence by merely uttering them. These divine words were burned onto 49 celestial tablets, which also contained all the knowledge of the past, present, and future, and are believed to open all the gates of heaven. Known throughout many religions, the tablets are known in Enochian as the Logoath, aptly translated to speech from God. It is believed that Adam came across the language within the Logoath during his days in the Garden of Eden, so he spoke to God. However, after his and Eve's expulsion from the Garden of Eden, fluency in the language slowly diluted to an ancient form of Hebrew that eventually got taken from humans after they attempted to build the Tower of Babel. Luckily before that, the prophet Enoch, the one who Enochian is named after, was able to gain the language during his visits to the heavenly planes. There, he was allowed to copy 366 books of the celestial tablets so that he could reintroduce their contents to the humans. But unfortunately, the contents were lost during the Great Flood. Many millennia later, interest in the language was reignited by two Englishmen who claimed to receive visions from angels giving them the lost language of Enochian through a series of complex cryptographic puzzles. The first of these two men was Dr. John Dee, a distinguished and influential man of Elizabethan England, as not only was he an acclaimed man of science, but he was also the right-hand man to Queen Elizabeth I. It was said that the library at his home in the town of Mortlake was the largest and most extensive library in all of England, with 4,000 ancient scientific tomes. Fortunately for him, this was during the English Renaissance, a time when magic, science, and religion blended together seamlessly, and a very devout man. Dee was a man eager to get knowledge in the name of God. It was during this search for knowledge he soon looked into the world of theurgy, which can be translated as operations of God. This is the act of study or invoking supernatural beings such as angels to acquire lost knowledge. Soon his search gave results, as he once recorded in his diary that he had a vision of the archangel Uriel. This encounter resulted in the receipt of a bright crystal the size of an egg, which could be used to contact angels by gazing into it. This is known as scrying, the act of transmitting messages through alternate realities by gazing through a suitable reflective surface. Eager to make the most of what he'd gone on to call a shoestone, Dee is soon disappointed to learn that he cannot make much success with the crystal. This made him search for the other protagonist in this story, Edward Talbot. Interestingly enough, he's one of the few men who translated the Enochian language, which caused the most doubts about its authenticity. This is because Edward Talbot is believed to be really Edward Kelly, a known fraudster, thanks to his cropped ears, a punishment for forgery at the time, if you will. However, it was also known that he was well educated in alchemy, Latin, and Greek, showing that he was a scholar. Most importantly to Dee, he also seemed to be the only one that could see, hear, and speak to the angels. This sparked a 7-year relationship where Dee and Kelly would scry every day in holy rituals. Soon they would meet with the 4 archangels, Uriel, Raphael, Michael, and Gabriel. Eager to get his hand on the Book of Enoch, the apocryphal texts filled with the purported details of the Great Flood, Dee asked the angels for the lost mythical book. However, rather than giving him the Book of Enoch, they gave him something even better. They actually gave him the Logoath. It's through these cryptographic puzzles that he and Kelly were to use if they ever wanted to get the ability to summon angels by opening the gates of heaven, just like Enoch had. The angels expected Dee to continue Enoch's job and return the lost language back to the man. Following this instruction, he left the Queen together with Kelly and their families to travel all around Central Europe where they'd seek the patronage of leaders. However, with the difficulty of translating these texts every day, Kelly was always looking for a way out of the job. However, after years of attempting to translate the 48 keys, a highly cryptic text to reveal the primordial language of God that would finally give them access to the heavens, the work came to an end when the cross-matching incident occurred. This is where angels demanded the pair share everything, including their wives. Marred by this incident that even bore a child from Jane Dee, the pair went their separate ways, never to see each other again. Unfortunately, Kelly, who has always suffered a dubious reputation thanks to his dubious past, always seemed to cause doubts as to the authenticity of the ancient translations. But the fact that he would have had to translate these texts that resembled no known language and then do them in a style that is totally foreign proves that there must be some authenticity to the works. Furthermore, he wasn't even the only one to translate the texts, as before and after he scried for Dee, several others, including Dee's son Arthur, scried for Dee, and the translations remained consistent. Going forward, Kelly sought to regain some reputation as an alchemist, but he soon suffered a terrible end at the hands of the Holy Roman Emperor Rudolph II, who imprisoned Kelly for failing to deliver gold through alchemy. Dee tried to return home following their split, but he too met a sour end. Coming back to a world that was less tolerant of magic and the occult, if you will, he found that his library had been destroyed, and although he was still best of friends with the Queen till her death, her passing marked the beginning of his harassment. Soon he would have to sell all his works just to survive until his death. The tragic death of the pair is only redeemed by the translation of the celestial language that they translated. Fearful of losing these works, he concealed what he had of it in the false bottom of a chest, which ended up in the hands of his wife, whose servant burned many of the pages for kindling. As such, much of what could have been translated due to this incident, and as such, we may never be able to translate it again. Although many groups, such as the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, sought to collect any of Dee's work they could find, Dee's translation of the language today was forgotten and overlooked until students of the occult today pulled resources to translate what they have, and finally opened the doors to the heavens. Well, that's all for today's video. Be sure to like and subscribe so you can be notified about our next videos. Trust me, you don't want to miss any of that.